Some are saying the market's cooling down. Some are saying we're getting multiple offers. Today, Lissette and I are going to tell you exactly what we're seeing.
You better get fired up.
All right, guys, happy Wednesday, happy Monday, and welcome. I can't even get my day straight, man. That's what happens when you have a great weekend. Lissette, how you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you, Joe?
I'm awesome too, man. I appreciate that. So word on the street is that we're getting multiple offers on a lot of different properties. Buyers are seeing that they're coming in either at asking, maybe they're trying to negotiate because of what they're hearing. So they're coming in 5-10 grand low. And they are finding out that, hey, your offer didn't get accepted because we got multiple offers. Other people are hearing that the market is cooling off and you can come in low and you're going to win. And so I just thought, hey, let's get two people, boots on ground, who are in there, got listings, we've got buyers. What are we seeing? So let's start with you. Tell me, on both your listings and with your buyers, what are you seeing as far as heat in the market? How hot is it?
So we're definitely have a lot more action and traction, I believe, than we had at the end of fall last year.
Yep.
We have more listings coming to the market. We have more buyers putting in application for mortgages. We are having them out looking at properties and putting offers on properties. So definitely a lot more action than we did in the past few months. I'm not experiencing multiple offer situation. For example, one of my listings, I have gotten a few verbal offers, but I don't consider anything an offer unless I have it in writing and in my hand. So, we are expecting a few offers to come in, but until I have that, I do not have multiple offers. So at the moment, I'm seeing action. I'm seeing the market still moving, sellers still engaged and ready to sell, and buyers engaged all over again. But not multiple offer situation on my end.
Yeah. So literally in the last probably 60 days, I've been in one multiple offer situation. It was with a buyer and we ended up losing. We went into another property that actually was better and we closed on it and he was happier. But yeah, we just saw the one. Now, he was an investor. He was looking at properties that were a little bit on the lower end. Like we're kind of in that maybe 275 to 350 range. But I have heard from several reputable realtors who I fully trust that they're seeing it, not a lot, maybe 10, 20% of the time. And it just, it makes you think, how cold is this market really? You know me, I'm a numbers nerd. So I have been watching inventory rates since March of last year. And what I found was, we had at our peak, which was, I believe it was March 26th of last year, we had 19 days of inventory in Port St. Lucie when you look at single family homes, right? That is a smoking hot seller's market. And what that means, inventory rates, for anybody who doesn't know, it means that with the current listings we've got in the market, if we sell at the rate that we've been selling at over the last 30 to 60 days, how long is it going to take to sell our current inventory if we don't take any new listings? It was 19 days to get it all sold just a year ago, right? Now we're looking at, and I'm going to say this with a grain of salt, we're looking at about 4.5 months. But I'll tell you, there's some good things and some bad things. One of the good things is that inventory went do, and once it hit about 4.5 months, it's plateaued. And that's kind of where it stayed. And anybody who knows real estate, I think, would agree with me. Maybe they'd be off a month or two, but they'd be right around the same numbers. 4 to 6 months is a neutral market, right? That's kind of where you want, as a professional, that's where I want it to be, right? If it's too hot of a market for sellers, prices are going to go up. Buyers are going to have a tough time. They might, try to curb it with the rates going up. A lot of the stuff we're seeing. If it's the other way and it's an incredible buyer's market, now you're going to see sellers who are losing $50,000, $75,000, $100,000. I mean, I remember this in 2008. And it's not a pretty market either. Either one of those two, not a pretty market. When you get a balanced market in that 4 to 6 months of inventory, that solves a lot of issues. It's a nice neutral market. I think buyers are getting fair deals. Sellers are getting fair prices. You can take a day or two to think about what you're going to do because it's not flying off in 62 minutes. So all of those things, I think, are very good things. The plateau of inventory is a wonderful thing specifically for sellers. However, and we've talked about this before, if you break it up into two different markets, 450 and under and 500 and above, that 500 and above is almost 7 months of inventory. Whereas the 450 and below, your first-time home buyers, they're at under 3 months of inventory. So you can't just say it's a hot market, it's a cold market, it's a neutral market. You've got to break it into different price points And you can even go further from there, right? Primary residence versus secondary residence, an investment home versus a vacation home, a lot of different markets. So if you're thinking about selling or buying, right, I think you need to have that discussion with your realtor. What is my market that I'm interested in doing right now? Lizette, what else are you seeing out there as far as trends are concerned, whether it's prices, terms negotiated, whatever?
I think it's really important to keep in mind also the pricing. And I think this is where you're going to see most of the multiple offer situations. If you are thinking of putting your property on the market and you see the same home model, very comparable in many ways, sold for 450, consider listing it maybe for slightly under 450. Be a little bit more competitive. And that's where you're going to see more interest, more buyers come by, take a look at your property, and possibly multiple offer situation. If you're going to go on the higher end and try to go over that 450 mark, then maybe you come an issue because there may be another competitor on the market that's for 440. So pricing is key, I think, in this market.
So I want to give you a common objection that you're going to hear from sellers, and I want to hear your genuine, not your realtor pitch, but your genuine thoughts, right? You're a good friend of mine. You're going to list my house, and you say, Joe, we're seeing comps kind of right around 450. I want you to list at 440. And I come back and say, well, won't I lose 10 grand? I could have got 450. What do you say to that person?
Well, what is your motivation? How much time are you willing to have this property on the market? And are you willing for that time to cost you possibly $10,000 and we're going to end up right back at 440 anyways?
Yep.
So if you have all the time in the world, you're not in a rush and you say, hey, let's just give it a shot. Hey, give it a shot. I'm always willing to give my seller a shot so they can experience it firsthand what I'm trying to explain to them. But if you are motivated, you want to get out of that property into the next property, it's really important to be competitive with pricing and don't risk it because you're going to be on the market for a few more months and you're going to end up right back at 440.
I'm starting to see sellers willing to pay buyers closing costs more now. And by more, I mean literally at all, because a year or two ago, that was not a thing. It was not happening. I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing them bend. Maybe they want you to come up, but before they wouldn't even come up, right? For example, for everybody listening, let's say you got 3% in closing costs and we're looking at a $500,000 home just for easy numbers. That means you're going to pay 15 grand in closing costs. So if you want the seller to pay for it, they're going to lose $15,000. Nobody would do that a year or two ago. So what people would try to do is say, hey, I'm going to pay you $515. I'm going to overpay for your house, but I'm going to take that overage and ask it back from you. So essentially you're financing in your closing costs. I'm going to ask you to pay for my closing costs. Will you do it? And they would reply with absolutely not, because I got 73 offers and yours is going to have to appraise for 515. I don't want to deal with a low appraisal. So I'm going to take this offer at 510. That's cash. Sorry, right? Now we're seeing, or I'm seeing, I'd like to hear what you say after I shut up here. I am seeing more sellers pay for buyers' closing costs, whether it's partial, all, them having to raise the price to do it, whatever, but it's getting those low cash or no cash buyers back into the market, especially, and I think this is why we're seeing the roughly 3 months versus 7 months of inventory on the 450 and below and 500 above. I'm seeing that especially in the lower end market of 450 and below. What are you seeing?
Yeah, definitely. Sellers are willing to work with buyers a lot more than back 6, 7, 8 months ago. And it's rewarding for a buyer too. There, you have buyers that maybe they're strapped on cash, and they need that closing cost assistance. Maybe that's part of their pre-approval that they do get those concessions. So having those options for those buyers it's nice. You're giving buyers an opportunity in where they didn't have that last year. And sellers are willing to work with them because they don't have the multiple offers that we did last year. So they're willing to be a little bit more flexible.
I'm going to tell you one last thing I'm seeing, and I'm making a guess as to the why. And I also got to remember my bubble is only so big, right? So everybody's got a little bit different bubble here that we're looking at. But I am seeing, as a listing agent, buyers' offers are coming in and they're not as tight. And what I mean by tight is they don't have pre-approval letters. They do have a pre-approval letter, but it's 60 days old instead of 3 days old. They do have a pre-approval letter, but it's for 460, and they're offering 500 grand on my $500,000 listing. So it doesn't even make sense. Or they're going to put 20% down, but they're not showing me proof of funds, which if you would have done that a year or two ago, we wouldn't even looked at your offer and we wouldn't have called you. We wouldn't have time. We got 13 offers. You would have been out the door. So buyers agents were tightening up their offers. They were beautiful, well constructed, well prepared, And I'm wondering if buyer's agents are getting lazy, and that's why we're starting to see this stuff. And I'm also thinking, as a buyer and as realtors listening to this, you have the opportunity to look better to agents like me who understand the difference. I tell you what, if I get two offers as a listing agent, same offer, right? They're both for 500 grand, but one has a pre-approval that's 60 days old. The other one was from yesterday. One is for 465, and they're verbally telling me they can do 500, I promise you. And the other one is for 500 or maybe even 550, which makes me feel better. One shows me proof of funds. The other one doesn't have it. I'm going to tell my sellers, listen, this buyer may be phenomenal, but their agent is not setting them up for success. And if they're dropping those balls now, the odds of them dropping balls in the future with the inspection, with the appraisal, with any other negotiations we got to do is much higher than with this other agent who's got a tight, beautiful offer. So guys, when you choose your agent, don't just choose, your cousin Sandy because it's your cousin. Like, you can, but you might lose houses. You might lose thousands of dollars. You want an agent who's going to present a beautiful, tight, just great offer. So that agent, when they see it, says, wow, this looks good. Are you seeing any of that, Lissette, as a listing agent?
And as a listing agent, I don't even invest my time to present that offer if you don't provide me the pre-approval, the proof of funds. I'm not going to waste my seller's time or get them excited for an offer and sit down with them if I don't have all the information pertaining to that offer with me to present it to them. It's not a solid offer, and it really means nothing. It's just a piece of paper if you're not proving to me or the seller that you can actually purchase the property.
Yep.
So as a listing agent, I just don't. It's provide me everything that I need. A lot of times I have this little list and says, here, if you're going to make an offer, do this A, B, C, and D.
Yep.
And once you have all that, then submit it over. I'm trying to help the buyer's agent out if they're new, what you need to do to win this property over, and also save my seller time and frustration. Have them fall in love with a buyer that may not work out. It's a lose-lose situation like that.
One other trend I'm seeing right now, and I think it's because you've got buyers who are still interested in buying. I'm married, I got 2 kids, I got to buy this house. I need a house. And you got other people who are either investors or they're single and they maybe would buy, maybe won't buy, or they're renters and they'll maybe buy or they won't buy. And they're coming in 30, 40, 50 grand low, right? And those offers, I'm not seeing those offers get accepted a whole lot right now. Not that it's not happening at all, but it's incredibly rare. It's certainly rare on homes that look good, right? You want one of those deals, go find yourself an ugly house and now you can get those deals, right? But who wants an ugly house? But what I'm seeing is a lot of buyer's agents calling listing agents and saying, hey, we're going to come in 50 grand low. It's a crappy offer. Just want to give it to you. Would you mind presenting it verbally? Guys, I would never, ever present a verbal offer. We talked about it in our business meeting this morning. I want to tell you why. It's not because your offer's 50 grand low and I don't want to present that. I have no problem presenting a horrible offer, right? I will present all offers to my sellers. The problem I have, and I've seen it multiple times, is I'm going to get that offer from that buyer's agent and they're going to say, hey, you're asking 600. We're going to come in at 550. Will they accept it? There are 7,000 things we have not discussed as far as terms are concerned that maybe my sellers care more about than the price. So now I tell my sellers, hey, 550, will you take it? Okay, fine, we'll take it. Now I found out your closing date is 90 days out. My sellers want 30. I find out that you are some type of financing that we don't like. I find out that you want our whole kitchen set and they don't want to give the kitchen set away because they got that from their great grandma. I find out that you want an inspection with 20 days to get it done, which is a crazy amount of time to get an inspection. And now my sellers are frustrated. Who are they frustrated with? The big guy, right? And I don't want to deal with that. So I tell people this because I want you to see it's not that the agent is being lazy. It's not that the agent doesn't want to present a bad offer or a low offer. I shouldn't say it's a bad offer. It's that I want to protect my sellers. And honestly, it takes 10, 15 minutes for a professional agent to write up an offer. If it's worth it, spend 15 minutes writing it up, send it over to me. I'll gladly present your $50,000 low offer. I have no problem with that. But don't put your sellers in a position where they think something's going to happen. You get the yes, and then all of a sudden more negotiation happens. And I'm just talking about terms here, but I'll tell you, you'll get the 550 accepted on a 6, and then that buyer will say, oh, they took 550. Tell them we'll only do it if they do 540. right? So now I've already told you, I've already exposed as a seller, I'll do 550, and now you're trying to take advantage of me more. So if I say no to the 540, even if I kick you out because I don't want to deal with you anymore, I can go talk to my investor buddy who will offer 550 knowing you'll take it, right? So absolutely, that's a no-no, not because I'm trying to be a jerk, not because I'm lazy or anything like that, but because I'm trying to protect the integrity of my seller, right? Lissette, what do you think on that? You got anything to add to that?
I completely agree. That's one of those things I really do not like to receive is verbal offers. I always tell them, listen, it does not matter the number. I'll give it a shot. I'll
Yep.
explain to them where the seller's at and where they feel why they're so certain on the price point. But put it in writing.
Yes.
Anything is writing is better than, having a verbal offer. And we could work from there. Maybe we'll meet halfway. But once you're in writing, now the seller takes you a little bit more seriously. We understand all the terms, it's all about the details. And then it gives us somewhere to work with. A verbal offer, in my book, I just don't present them. I don't.
100%. Well, guys, I appreciate you joining us. If you got any additional questions, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, always put them down in the questions area, the comments area, and we will get back to you. But thanks for joining us. And Lissette, I appreciate you as well, my friend.